The love token I thought I had from high school turned out to be a token of my husband's secret crush for many years, entrusted to his good brother, my ex-boyfriend, to pass on. Not only did my ex lie that I disliked it and threw it away, but he also stole this affection for many years. When my mother-in-law took out a perfect essay with my name on it, locked in the safe for 10 years, and revealed the truth of my husband's secret love, I realized that the seemingly gentle and harmless contract husband was the real, deeply hidden protagonist in my story, and my ex's jealousy had already distorted his face. The clock struck midnight, and a faint sound of a key turning came from the entrance. I leaned back on the living room sofa, pretending to read a book, but the corner of my eye accurately caught that familiar yet unfamiliar figure, my marriage partner, Ethan King. He's back, 3 hours later than usual. The footsteps were a little unsteady, with an almost imperceptible fatigue, and a faint, sweet scent that didn't belong to any perfume in our house. It's women's perfume. I put down the book and looked up at him. Ethan seemed surprised that I wasn't asleep yet. He paused, a trace of awkwardness flashing across his face. Still awake? His voice was a little hoarse, and his eyes darted around, avoiding my gaze. This was very unusual. For the 6 months since we got married, Ethan King had been a complete Klingon in front of me. He was like a big golden retriever, wishing he could hang on me 24 hours a day. The first thing he always did when he got home was pounce on me and give me a milky sweet hug, then chatter about his day's interesting things, even if they were trivial. But today, he just stood in the entrance hall, took off his coat, and threw it casually on the coat rack next to him. Usually he would hang it up neatly, or hand it directly to me to deal with. Then, he went straight to the bar, poured himself a glass of whiskey, turned his back to me, and silently sipped it. The air was filled with awkwardness and that unfamiliar perfume. What made my alarm bells ring even louder was that, for the first time ever, he didn't complain about the hard work of overtime, didn't come over to act cute and ask for a hug, and was even stingy with eye contact. He took out his phone, lowered his head and quickly typed something, the corner of his mouth occasionally curling into an imperceptible smile. That kind of smile I had never seen on his face before. It had a hint of mystery, a hint of satisfaction. My heart sank little by little. A business marriage, each getting what they need. This was the consensus Ethan King and I reached before our marriage. Our two companies needed in-depth cooperation, and a marriage between two powerful entities was the best bonding agent. Feelings? Those were a luxury, not within the scope of our deal. I always thought Ethan was like me, soberly playing the role of a qualified business partner, but his clinginess after marriage once gave me an illusion. He would clumsily learn to cook my favorite dishes, remember to prepare brown sugar water and warm patches for me during my period, and wait for me in the living room with a pillow in his arms when I came home late from overtime. Feeling aggrieved, I even got a little used to his presence, but at this moment, the unfamiliar perfume scent on him, his deliberately distant attitude, and his absorbed appearance with his phone, are all silently telling me, the agreement may be terminated early. Perhaps he has found his true love, or perhaps he never let go of that person he used to like that he mentioned. When we got married, he confessed that he had someone in his heart, but it was in the past. I didn't delve into it at the time. It was a business marriage, no need to dig too deep. Looking back now, perhaps it was never really in the past. It's late, aren't you going to take a shower? I tried my best to make my voice sound calm and even. He didn't even look up, his fingers flying across the screen. You go wash up first, I'll deal with some emails. Emails? midnight. Dealing with emails? Smiling at the phone screen? I walked to his side, bent down, and leaned closer to him. That sweet, greasy perfume scent became clearer, mixed with his usual cedar cologne, forming a strange sense of disharmony. Washed together? I reached out, my fingertips hooked on the collar of his shirt, my tone carrying a hint of deliberate ambiguity. This is one of the rare intimate moments between us, usually initiated by me, and he always acts like a child who has received candy, overjoyed, and then transforms into a wolf. But today, his body visibly stiffened, and he almost immediately moved to the side to avoid my touch. No, I have something to do. He put down his glass, picked up his phone, and hurried towards the study, his back view carrying a hint of fleeing. I maintained my bent posture, watching his tightly closed study door, the smile on the corner of my mouth gradually freezing. When you're full outside, you naturally can't swallow what's at home. I straightened up and slowly walked towards the bathroom. Hot water poured down, the warm mist blurring the mirror and my vision. I forced a self-deprecating smile. Jiangmu, aren't you a little confused? We agreed it was a business marriage. No real feelings involved. Why does it seem like you're a little unhappy? No, I'm not unhappy. I just hate having my plans disrupted. I hate this feeling of being out of control. Yes, that must be it. After coming out of the shower, the study light was still on. I didn't disturb him and went straight back to the bedroom. Lying on the empty king-size bed, I took out my phone and opened the WhatsApp chat box with my best friend, Chloe Chen. Me, image, JPG, a blurry, steamy photo of a bathroom mirror. Me, guessing my husband in the arranged marriage might be cheating. Chloe replied instantly, "Tell me everything, what's going on? Is it that clingy Ethan King?" I briefly explained the anomalies of tonight, including the perfume smell, cold attitude, and refusal of intimacy. Chloe, holy crap, that's a lot of information. Perfume plus refusing to shower, that's basically confirmed, right? Did he sneak around with someone else? Most likely. Chloe, so what are you going to do? Catch them in the act? Tear the mistress to shreds? Me, no interest. It's a marriage of convenience. Let's part ways amicably. Chloe, TSK. Ava Miller, you are unbelievably calm. But, are you sure you don't care at all? I feel a little bit of sourness between the lines. Me, don't talk nonsense. He and I are just business partners. Chloe, come on. Does a cooperative relationship require sleeping in the same bed for 6 months after marriage? Does a cooperative relationship require you to remember that he doesn't like cilantro, and he remembers which days of the month you can't drink cold water? Ava, you can fool others, but you can't fool me. Are you falling for that puppy? Falling for him? Looking at these two words, my heart felt like it was gently stung by something. Me, impossible. I told you. The cooperation between our Miller family and the King family is above everything else. I won't let personal feelings affect the overall situation. Chloe, okay, you're awake, you're rational. In that case, since he has something going on, don't just sit idly by. There are so many high-quality handsome guys out there. With your qualities, what kind of guy couldn't you find? Why not? Play separately? Play separately? This suggestion caught me off guard. Play separately. Sounds very fair, very much in line with the business essence of our marriage. But I frowned. Me, forget it. It's boring. If he really wants to end it, he can just come clean. There's no need to do all this. Chloe, okay, you decide. But seriously, if Ethan dares to let you down, I'll be the first to tear him apart. I looked at the screen, but my heart wasn't as carefree as I said. If it's just a working relationship, why does his unusual attitude bother me so much? Why does the unfamiliar perfume on him smell so pungent to me? Why does his rejection of my advances make me feel lost? No, this isn't falling for him. I just don't like things being out of control. Yes, that's it. I turned off my phone and forced myself to close my eyes, but the light shining through the crack of the study door was like a needle pricking my eyelids. I tossed and turned until 2 in the morning. When the study door finally opened, Ethan tiptoed in, probably thinking I was already fast asleep. He didn't come straight to bed, but went to the cloakroom, and when he came out, he had changed into his pajamas. The sweet, greasy scent of perfume on his body was much fainter, but it had not completely disappeared. He lay down on the other side of the bed, with his back to me, his body tense, even his breathing deliberately softened. In the darkness, I could clearly feel the sudden distance that had opened up between us, like an invisible chasm. Silence grew wildly like vines. Us. Suffocating us. I can't stand this ambiguous situation. Ethan, I broke the silence, my voice particularly clear in the still night. Let's talk. His body visibly stiffened, but he didn't turn around immediately. After a few seconds, he slowly turned around to face me, but I couldn't see his expression in the darkness. What is there to talk about? His voice was tinged with weariness, and an almost imperceptible hint of nervousness. Do you still like the person you used to like? I asked directly. Instead of guessing, it's better to ask clearly once and for all. If he really wants to rekindle his old flame, I don't need to stop him. This marriage of ours was originally a matter of mutual need, and now that his need has changed, it is only natural to break up. The air froze. Ethan was silent for a long time, so long that I thought he wouldn't answer. Then, I heard him say a word softly, yet with unusual clarity. MMM. One word. like a heavy hammer, struck my heart, although I had expected it. Hearing it with my own ears still brought an indescribable feeling, heavy, a little blocked. So, his previous honesty was just a way of avoiding the important issues. All that "it's in the past" stuff was a lie. I understand. I tried to make my voice sound calm, even a little relieved. If you want to start over with her, I'll let you. It's not what you think. Ethan interrupted me suddenly, his voice a little hurried. Then what is it? I retorted. You admitted you still like her. Your strange behavior tonight. Ethan, we have a business marriage. There's no need to act out a deep love scene. If you want to leave, I won't pester you. I didn't want to leave. He suddenly sat up, his tone carrying a hint of aggrieved misunderstanding. The person I like. She /s very close to me. Very close to him? I sneered inwardly. Of course, the mistress. She's very close, so close that her perfume can rub off on him. But I remained calm on the surface, and also sat up, deliberately moving closer to him, my nose almost touching his, my tone with a hint of playfulness. Oh, how close? This close? I just wanted to test his reaction, to see how he would dodge, how he would feel guilty. However, to my surprise, Ethan didn't dodge. His dark eyes locked onto me tightly in the darkness, and his breathing instantly became heavy. The next second, he suddenly grabbed the back of my head and kissed me hard. This kiss carried an almost out-of-control force, full of aggression and a hint of desperation. He pried open my teeth, his tongue carrying the lingering taste of whiskey and that damn perfume, conquering my mouth. I was so startled by his sudden action that I had a moment of blankness. A few seconds later, I reacted and pushed him away forcefully. Ethan King, what do you mean? I gasped for breath, my heart pounding like crazy, my face burning. He was pushed away by me, his eyes showing a hint of hurt, but even more of a desperate madness. He licked his lips, his voice hoarse. The person I like is you. I'm so angry I could laugh. Like me? You like me so you come home late at night, smelling of other women's perfume? You like me so you're cold and distant, addicted to your phone? You like me so you avoid me like the plague when I try to get close? That logic would make even a dog shake its head. Ethan, there's no need to tell lies like that. I looked at him coldly. You just refused to take a bath with me. And now, it was an accident, he explained urgently. The plan is temporarily suspended. Plan? What plan? An emergency PR plan after being caught cheating? I looked at his panicked eyes, and the last bit of emotion in my heart subsided. Forget it. There's no need to expose things so harshly. I lay down again and pulled the blanket over myself. It's late. Let's sleep. He seemed to want to say something, but in the end, he just silently lay back down beside me. This time, he didn't turn his back to me again. In the darkness, I could feel his burning gaze fixed on me, but I closed my eyes and pretended to be asleep. But inside, I was incredibly awake. That kiss just now was merely a period he put on this soon-to-end relationship, filled with despair and unwillingness. Just a so-called farewell sex rehearsal. Since he wants to part on good terms, then I'll grant him that. The next morning, Ethan, uncharacteristically, didn't sleep in. He even got up earlier than I did. When I went downstairs, he was already dressed, sitting at the dining table with a cup of coffee in front of him, but he hadn't touched it. When he saw me, his eyes flickered, and he hesitated, as if wanting to say something but holding back. I didn't give him a chance to speak and went straight to sit across from him, picking up a slice of toast. I'm going to contact a lawyer today. The hand holding his coffee cup tightened abruptly, almost spilling the coffee. A lawyer? What do you need a lawyer for? Prepare the divorce agreement. My tone was calm, as if discussing the weather. We have a prenuptial agreement. The division of property is simple. There won't be any disputes. Ethan's face turned pale instantly. He looked at me in disbelief. Divorce? Ava, you. Why divorce? Just because of what I did last night. It has nothing to do with what you did last night. I interrupted him. Didn't you say you still like that person from the past? In that case, I'll set you free to pursue your happiness. I didn't. That's not what I meant. He stood up anxiously, his voice changing. The person I like is you. It really is you. Ethan, I looked up, meeting his panicked gaze with composure. Save those words for someone you truly care about. There's no need for them between us. Having said that, I put down the unfinished toast, picked up my bag, walked past him, and headed straight for the door. Ava, he called out behind me, his voice laced with a hint of broken desperation. I didn't turn back. opening the door, closing the door. The actions were completed in one go. Sitting in the car, I immediately called Chloe. Done? Chloe's voice had a hint of excitement. Yeah. I laid my cards on the table. I started the car. Help me draft a divorce agreement. The sooner the better. Just follow the prenuptial agreement. We don't have any joint property. It's very simple. No problem. Leave it to me. But, are you really getting a divorce? Won't you reconsider? What if it's just a misunderstanding? Chloe still couldn't quite believe it. There's nothing to consider. My tone was firm. He admitted himself that he still likes someone else. And last night he even tried to use a kiss to cover things up. He couldn't keep up the act any longer. Okay, I respect your decision. I can get the agreement to you this afternoon. Chloe paused, her tone turning a bit gossipy. By the way, Ava, I have something to tell you. Noah Scott is back. Did you know? Noah Scott. This name was like a stone thrown into a calm lake, stirring up a small ripple, but it quickly returned to calm. My predecessor, also the person I once thought I would spend my life with. Later, we broke up peacefully due to differences in reality and ideals. Yes, I heard. The hand I was holding the steering wheel tightened. Why did you suddenly bring him up? It's nothing. I just ran into him at a business cocktail party yesterday, and he asked about you. Chloe cautiously probed. You decided to divorce so quickly this time. It wouldn't be related to him, would it? You're overthinking it. I chuckled. Noah and I ended things a long time ago. It's in the past. The divorce is a problem between Ethan and me. It has nothing to do with anyone else. That's good. Chloe breathed a sigh of relief. I was afraid you were going to do something rash and want to rekindle things. That Noah, although he looks presentable, hurt you badly back then. Don't worry, I know what I'm doing. After hanging up the phone, the street scenes outside the car window sped by. Noah Scott's return to the country is just an insignificant piece of news to me. The only thing I need to do now is to end this absurd marriage with Ethan as soon as possible. In the afternoon, Chloe sent me the electronic version of the divorce agreement. The efficiency was amazing. I printed 2 copies, and after confirming that the terms were correct, I sent Ethan a message, come home at 7 p.m. to sign the documents. He replied almost instantly, what documents? Divorce agreement. After that, there was no further reply from that side. At 7 p.m., I returned punctually to our home, that luxurious villa in the suburbs, symbolizing the marriage of our 2 families. The living room lights were on. Ethan was sitting on the sofa, with an open bottle of red wine and 2 glasses on the coffee table in front of him, one of which was empty. He looked a little haggard, with faint dark circles under his eyes and his hair slightly disheveled. Seeing me come in, he stood up abruptly, looking at the file bag in my hand with a complex expression. Ava, do you really have to do this? His voice was hoarse, filled with a deep sense of helplessness. I walked to the opposite side of him, placed the file bag on the coffee table, and took out the 2 agreements and a pen. Sign it, Ethan. It's better for both of us. He didn't look at the agreement, just stared at me, his eyes slightly red. Why? Just because I admitted it. But I explained. I like you. Why don't you believe me? Believing or not believing is no longer important. I avoided his gaze. What's important is that you're not happy. You deserve to find someone who truly excites you and makes you happy. I'm not unhappy. He retorted excitedly. I'm very happy with you. Really? Happy? I looked up at him. Happy enough to come home late at night with another woman's perfume on you? Happy enough to be cold to me and reject my advances? That's not. He opened his mouth as if to explain something, but in the end, he just slumped his shoulders, his face full of frustration and pain. That's all. A ploy. A ploy? I said as if I had heard a great joke. What ploy? A ploy to make me take the initiative to file for divorce? Congratulations. You succeeded. No. He shook his head violently, his eyes filled with panic and helplessness. It was to make you care about me, to keep me, in this way? I simply couldn't believe my ears. The logic circuit was so bizarre that it was breathtaking. Ethan, I took a deep breath, trying to maintain the last of my patience. Let's end this, sign the papers, and we'll both be better off. He looked at the divorce agreement on the coffee table as if it were a terrifying monster. He reached out, wanting to pick up the pen, but his fingertips were trembling slightly. Are you going to pursue your happiness? He suddenly looked up and asked in a hoarse voice, with a kind of almost pleading humility in his eyes. Pursue happiness? I was stunned for a moment before I realized what he might have misunderstood. Perhaps he thought Noah Scott, whom I mentioned to Chloe, was involved? It's none of your business, I said blandly. My answer seemed to be the last straw that broke him. Ethan suddenly grabbed the car keys, didn't even look at me, and stumbled out the door. The roar of the engine soon started, then quickly faded away, disappearing into the night. Only me and the two unsigned divorce agreements were left in the living room, and his phone, which he didn't have time to turn off. The screen was still lit, remaining on the interface for sending me a message. I looked at the empty doorway and felt a strange sense of panic in my heart. He was so emotionally agitated. Would he have an accident driving? That's fine. Once this thought arose, it grew wildly like weeds. I picked up his phone and subconsciously wanted to call him, but I realized he had left in a hurry and had even left his phone behind. After hesitating for a few seconds, I picked up my own phone and dialed his number. No one answered. I called again, but still no one answered. A bad premonition gripped me. Where would he go? The office? Or, to find her? No, I have to find him. Not for any other reason, just, I don't want anything to happen to him. Yes, that's all. I grabbed my car keys and strode out. His company, King Enterprises, wasn't far from here. I sped along the way, silently praying that he had only returned to the company to calm down. Most of the office buildings were dark late at night. Only the lights in the president's office on the top floor were still on. I breathed a sigh of relief. It seemed he really was here. I slowed my pace and walked to the door of the president's office. The thick solid wood door had excellent soundproofing, but I could still faintly hear suppressed sobs coming from inside. It's Ethan's voice. Is he crying? I frowned and was about to knock when I heard another familiar voice, with a hint of reassurance. Okay, stop crying. How old are you? This voice. Is that Noah Scott? How could they be together? I subconsciously stopped knocking, held my breath, and pressed my ear to the door crack. Inside, Ethan's sobbing voice came intermittently / She doesn't believe me. Noah, do you think this trick isn't working? She's not even jealous. She even wants to divorce me. Noah's voice carried a hint of helpless laughter. I told you a long time ago, Ava, she is not that kind of little girl. This kind of trick of playing hard to get doesn't work on her. See, you've overplayed your hand, haven't you? Then what should I do? Ethan / voice was tearful, full of helplessness. I don't want a divorce. It took me so much effort to. What else can you do? Since she's determined to leave, let her go. Noah's voice sounded very calm, even with a hint of comfort. Forcing things won't make them sweeter. Let her pursue the happiness she wants. Wouldn't that be good? My brain buzzed, as if something had exploded. Playing hard to get? A tactic? Did Noah teach you that? So, Ethan's previous abnormal behavior, coming home late at night, the unfamiliar perfume scent, most likely Noah deliberately put it on, the indifferent attitude, being addicted to his phone, pretending to be busy or playing games, was all an act for me? The purpose was to test me, to make me jealous, to keep me from leaving? Noah Scott, my ex-boyfriend, is actually the director of this shoddy play? Absurd. It's simply unbelievable. Ethan King, he looks so innocent and harmless. How could he cooperate with Noah in acting out this melodramatic drama? Just then, Noah's voice rang out again, with a hint of subtle provocation. Maybe she still has someone else in her heart. There's no point in you waiting like this. I can almost picture the meaningful smile playing on Noah's lips as he said that. Then, I heard footsteps approaching the door. The next second, the office door suddenly opened from the inside. Noah Scott stood in the doorway, a perfectly crafted look of surprise on his face, as if he had just noticed me, and Ethan was still leaning on his shoulder, tear streaks on his face, his eyes red and swollen like a rabbit's. Our eyes met. A hint of understanding flashed in Noah's eyes. Then he turned to me, a cryptic smile playing on his lips. Ethan saw me too, and was first stunned, then his face lit up with a burst of joy. He struggled out of Noah's arms and tried to rush towards me. Ava, are you here to find me? Were you worried about me? His assistant happened to be walking over with coffee and froze on the spot at the sight of the chaotic scene. King, Mr. Scott, you guys. Noah patted Ethan on the shoulder, signaling him to calm down, then turned to me with a gentle smile. Ava, long time no see. Ethan ignored Noah, walked up to me, his earlier surprise fading, replaced by a face full of grievance. He pointed to the divorce agreement on the desk in the office. He actually brought the agreement with him, and muttered softly, If you weren't worried about me, I would have really signed it. I'm just worried about you driving unsafely. I interrupted his self-indulgent thoughts, my tone indifferent, but my heart was churning because of the truth I had just overheard. Ethan's face fell, like a golden retriever being scolded by its owner. Oh, Ethan and Ava had a little spat. As their brother, I'm here to mediate. Noah spoke up at the right time, breaking the awkwardness while subtly emphasizing his role. Brother? I looked at Ethan. Ethan scratched his head a little embarrassedly. Well, Noah and I grew up together since we were little. Our two families are family friends, so that's how it is. No wonder Noah got involved. Noah Scott, when I met him, he never mentioned his relationship with the King family, let alone Ethan King. Since it's a misunderstanding, it's good to clear it up. Noah's smile remained. Ava, would you mind adding me on social media? We're all friends now, so we can keep in touch. He took out his phone and opened the contact QR code interface. I looked at him, then at Ethan, who had an expectant look on his face, hoping I wouldn't be angry, and finally nodded and scanned his QR code. Okay, it's getting late. You should go back and rest early. Noah put away his phone. With his goal achieved, he began to see them off. On the way back, Ethan and I were silent the whole time. He tried to speak several times, but my cold gaze stopped him. My mind is very confused right now. Ethan's affair was fake. It was a bad idea from Noah. Could it be that Ethan's crush is really me? This farce is even more outrageous than a primetime soap opera. In the days that followed, Ethan and I fell into a bizarre stalemate. He no longer deliberately distanced himself and returned to his clingy self, even more so than before, carefully watching my face and trying to please me. But that thorn in my heart is still there. The feeling of being deceived and manipulated prevents me from facing him as openly as before. The divorce agreement was put away by me, but not destroyed. As for Noah Scott, after adding his contact information, he began to appear frequently in my life. First, Ethan suddenly told me that he was going to Europe on a business trip for a week, responsible for the liaison of the joint project between the two companies, and Noah would temporarily be his proxy. Noah is very familiar with both of our companies and has strong business skills. Don't worry, he will definitely handle it well, Ethan explained, his tone filled with his usual trust in Noah. What can I say? It's an internal arrangement within their company. So, Noah began to contact me legitimately. At first, he sent project materials and discussed design details, but later he gradually mixed in some personal greetings. The weather is nice today. Are you feeling better? I saw a newly opened restaurant with good reviews. We can try it next time if we have the chance. That new project from King Enterprises. I've been keeping an eye on it for you. There are a few key points to note. He always manages to find the right reasons, without being too abrupt, and still maintaining consistent contact. His sense of propriety is excellent, just like when he was pursuing me back then. I try to keep my distance and handle things professionally, but undeniably, Noah really understands me. He knows what I like and dislike, and he knows how to subtly showcase his charm and ability. This kind of subtle closeness makes me a little uncomfortable, but I can't find any clear grounds for complaint. Until my birthday. Ethan was still in Europe on my birthday. He had apologized to me several days in advance, saying that he would make it up to me when he came back. I didn't care about these formalities and told him to focus on his work. On my birthday, I went to work as usual. In the afternoon, Noah suddenly called me and said that a design detail of the co-branded model needed to be confirmed in person, and he was downstairs in my company now. I didn't think much about it and went downstairs with the documents. As a result, he took me directly to our alma mater, Stanford University. The car stopped by the familiar tree-lined avenue. Noah took a beautifully packaged cake from the trunk, along with an iconic orange box. It's Hermes. Happy birthday, Ava. Noah opened the cake box. The candlelight reflected his gentle smiling face. I know you've always loved this ginkgo forest. I looked at the scene before me, a little stunned. How did you? Ethan told me, Noah rushed to say. He said it's your birthday, and he couldn't be with you, so he asked me to give you a surprise for him. For Ethan? I looked at the orange box in Noah's hand, and a strange feeling I couldn't describe welled up in my heart. Noah, I didn't take the cake and gift. Thank you for your kindness, but Ethan and I will handle our own affairs. We don't need you. Ava, Noah interrupted me, his eyes becoming serious and deep. I know you and Ethan are just in a marriage of convenience. I know you don't love him. Give me a chance to start over, okay? He finally revealed his purpose. I looked at him. his once familiar face now seeming somewhat strange. "Noah," I said calmly, but with unusual firmness, "I am married. I am Ethan King's wife. And we ended things a long time ago. I won't go back." Noah's face paled slightly, as if he hadn't expected me to refuse so decisively. "Why?" he asked unwillingly. "You clearly don't love him. You are just making do. Whether I love you or not is my own business." I looked at him, suddenly remembering something, and a sarcastic smile crept onto my lips. "Besides, Noah, you probably forgot that we were together for so long, and you never once celebrated my birthday." "Yes, not even once." He was always busy, always had various reasons. I used to look forward to it, but later I got used to it. Noah's expression froze. He obviously didn't expect me to bring this up. He tried to explain. "At that time, I was busy starting a business." No need to explain. I interrupted him. "Let the past be the past." I turned around, ready to leave. At this moment, I didn't feel any joy from rejecting Noah, but instead felt empty inside. I remembered last year, not long after Ethan and I got married, my first real birthday. That day, my father and my seemingly foolish husband from the arranged marriage planned a surprise party for me together. It wasn't extravagant, just in the garden at home, hung with fairy lights and filled with my favorite desserts. Ethan even clumsily played and sang a birthday song, going so off-key it could reach the Pacific Ocean. My father smiled and said, "Moo, my nickname, look how good Ethan is to you." At that time, I only felt it was a superficial effort of a business marriage. But now, looking back, Ethan's nervous and expectant eyes that day, his embarrassment and blushing when he sang off-key, all seemed so real. And the gift he gave me wasn't some designer bag, but a thick photo album filled with pictures of me from all stages of my life, many of which my father secretly provided to him. Next to them were childishly written blessings. At that moment, a strong impulse suddenly surged in my heart. "I miss Ethan." I took out my phone and dialed Ethan's number. The phone rang a few times and was quickly answered. "Ava?" Ethan_S voice was filled with a hint of surprise and caution. "What_S wrong? Is something the matter?" "Nothing." I heard my voice sounding a little tight. "I just wanted to ask how things are going on your end." "It_S going well. The matter is almost finished, and if everything goes smoothly, I can go back the day after tomorrow." Ethan_S voice sounded cheerful. "How about you? Did you have a good day today?" I responded softly. The other end of the phone was silent for a few seconds. Then Ethan's voice came with a hint of uncertainty and expectation. "Ava, do you miss me?" My heart skipped a beat, and my cheeks felt a little hot. "No," I said stubbornly. "I'm hanging up." "Wait." Ethan hurriedly called out to me. "Did you receive the gift? Do you like it?" "Gift? The one Noah sent?" I frowned. "I received it." "That's good." Ethan breathed a sigh of relief. "It's good that you like it. I'll give you another one when I get back." After hanging up the phone, I looked at Noah, who was still holding the cake and gifts not far away, and the last bit of hesitation in my heart disappeared. I went straight to the side of the road, hailed a taxi, and left my alma mater without looking back. I didn't even glance at that orange box and cake again. By the time I got back to the villa, it was already dark. I pushed open the door and was surprised to find the living room was dark, with only a warm glow coming from the direction of the garden. The air was filled with a faint floral scent and the smell of grilled meat. I walked towards the garden in confusion. Then, I froze. The originally empty lawn had been decorated like a fairy tale world at some point. Twinkling colored lights were wrapped around the branches and flower racks. A long table covered with a checkered tablecloth was placed in the center, with delicate tableware and flickering candlelight on top. Next to it was a small barbecue grill, sizzling with heat, and Ethan King, the one who was supposed to be in Europe, was wearing a ridiculous apron and clumsily flipping the food on the grill. Hearing footsteps, he looked up, saw me, and a big smile immediately bloomed on his face, like a golden retriever wagging its tail waiting for its owner's praise. "Ava, you're back." He dropped the tongs, quickly ran towards me, and opened his arms to give me a hug. I took a step back instinctively. His smile froze on his face, his arm hung awkwardly in midair, and his eyes dimmed. "Sorry, I forgot." Seeing his disappointed look, my heart inexplicably softened. "How did you come back early?" I asked. "I flew back as soon as I finished dealing with things." He scratched his head, a little embarrassed, and said, I wanted to give you a surprise. Happy birthday, Ava." As he spoke, he magically produced a small, ribbon-tied box from behind his back. And a furry toy? It was a calico cat doll, almost identical to a cat in a painting I drew when I was a kid. I only showed that painting to my father, and even I had almost forgotten about it. I looked at the cat doll, a little surprised. I asked my uncle, my father, and he said you loved cats the most when you were little and even drew a calico cat, saying you wanted to have one when you grew up. Ethan carefully handed me the doll. I couldn't find an exact match for the cat, so I had someone custom make a doll. I took the doll. It felt soft, the workmanship was exquisite, and the cat's eyes even looked a bit like the silly and cute look in my drawing. And he handed me the small box again. I opened the box, and a necklace lay quietly inside. A platinum chain with a perfectly cut pink diamond as a pendant, and a few small diamonds dotted around it. The design was simple and elegant. "You said before that you liked pink diamonds." Ethan's eyes sparkled, full of anticipation. "Do you like it?" I looked at his sincere eyes. The carefully arranged garden, the calico cat doll that replicated my childhood dream, and this obviously valuable pink diamond necklace. My heart felt like it was filled with something warm. The unhappiness caused by Noah and the playing hard to get strategy before seemed to be diluted a lot at this moment. "Ethan," I looked at him and asked seriously, "those things before, the perfume, pretending to be busy, playing games, did Noah really teach you that?" Ethan's face flushed instantly, his eyes darting around, like a child caught doing something wrong. He admitted softly. "Noah said it would make you anxious about me, make you jealous, prove that you care about me. He said that girls like to be chased, that they can't be obtained too easily, that you have to play hard to get." Ethan's voice grew softer as he spoke, his head almost buried in his chest. "I'm sorry, Ava, I know I was wrong. I shouldn't have listened to him. I shouldn't have used such a stupid method to test you." He raised his head, his eyes filled with regret and sincerity. "I'm just too afraid of losing you. I'm afraid that one day you won't want me anymore and will go find someone else." Looking at his clumsy and pitiful appearance, the little bit of anger in my heart had long since vanished. I even found it a little funny. This idiot. So, the perfume was his doing, and pretending to be busy was playing games? I pressed. Ethan nodded vigorously. "Yes, Noah said to just have a female colleague spray some on, but I was afraid you would misunderstand, so I secretly sprayed just a little bit, but you still smelled it. And the phone, I didn't have any emails to reply to at all. I was just playing Candy Crush. I didn't know whether to laugh or cry. This so-called playing hard to get is full of loopholes, ridiculously childish." "Ethan," I looked at him, "Noah Scott, he doesn't understand me at all. If he really understood me, he wouldn't come up with such a bad idea. What I, Jiang Mu, hate the most is deception and scheming." Ethan was stunned for a moment, then nodded vigorously. "Yeah, I found it too. Noah's method doesn't work at all. You're not jealous at all, and you still want to divorce me." As he spoke, he became aggrieved again. Seeing him like that, I finally couldn't help but laugh. When he saw me laugh, his eyes lit up instantly. He tentatively reached out and carefully touched my arm. I didn't dodge away. He immediately took the opportunity to hold my hand tightly, as if afraid I would run away. The colorful lights in the garden twinkled, and the aroma of barbecue filled the air. At that moment, the ice between Ethan and me seemed to melt away quietly. The next day, I went to the firm to find Chloe and told her that Ethan and I had reconciled and that the divorce was on hold. After listening to my narration, Chloe had a strange expression, but her focus was completely off. "Wait, did you say Ethan gave you a pink diamond necklace?" She leaned closer to me, carefully examining the necklace on my neck. This design looks a bit familiar." "Familiar?" I wondered. "This was custom made by Ethan. It shouldn't be the same as anything else. Let me think." Chloe propped her chin up, pondered for a few seconds, and suddenly her eyes lit up. "I remember. The style of this necklace is exactly the same as the moon necklace Noah Scott gave you in high school." "The moon necklace Noah gave me?" I had almost forgotten if Chloe hadn't mentioned it. Noah did give me a necklace when I graduated from high school. A gold chain with a crescent moon pendant, inlaid with a yellow gemstone. It seems like a yellow sapphire? At the time, he said that he designed it himself and that it represented his feelings. I was very touched and wore it for a long time, but after we broke up, I put it away. It normal for the style to be similar, right? It all minimalist, I said, but a trace of doubt rose in my heart for some reason. Why would Ethan choose a design so similar in style to the necklace Noah gave me? Is it a coincidence? Or, maybe, Chloe shrugged. But speaking of which, it amazing that Ethan, that innocent fool, would be used as a pawn by Noah. You have to keep a close eye on him and don't be fooled by that scheming Noah again. I know, I nodded, but the necklace cast a faint shadow over my heart. The co-branded project was a great success, and the company held a celebration banquet. Ethan and I attended together. He seemed particularly happy tonight, probably because of the project's success and because we had reconciled. He clung to me like a large pendant, his eyes sparkling, introducing me to everyone as "This is my wife, Ava." After a few drinks, he became even more clingy, holding onto my arm and muttering softly, "Ava, you're so good, and I like you so much." I felt a little helpless, but my heart was warmed. Just then, an uninvited guest appeared. Noah Scott walked towards us with a smile, holding a wine glass. "Ethan, Ava, congratulations." He raised his glass in a gesture. Ethan saw him and restrained his clingy behavior towards me, but still held my hand tightly, with a hint of subtle vigilance in his eyes. It seems that what happened last time made him a little wary of this good brother. "Thank you, Noah," Ethan responded politely. "Ava looks beautiful today." Noah's eyes fell on me, with undisguised admiration. "Ethan is so lucky." Of course, Ethan immediately puffed out his chest, like a puppy guarding its food. The atmosphere became a little subtle in an instant. Just then, someone came over to toast Ethan, and Noah naturally deflected a few glasses for me. "Ava doesn't have a good alcohol tolerance. I'll drink for her." His smile was gentle and his demeanor was impeccable, leaving no room for criticism. But I could feel a hint of provocation and unwillingness hidden in the gaze he cast at me. I excused myself to go to the restroom, wanting to temporarily avoid this uncomfortable scene. Just as I reached the corner of the hallway, someone grabbed my wrist. It was Noah. He pulled me to a secluded corner, my back against the cold wall, staring at me with sharp eyes. "Ava, why haven't you gotten a divorce?" "Noah, we've already made ourselves clear." I tried to pull my hand back, but he grabbed even tighter, with a force that made me feel a little pain. "Clear about what? Clear that you don't love that fool at all? Clear that you're just using him to consolidate your family's business?" "Let go," I said, a little annoyed. "You look at me, Ava." He took a step closer, almost touching me, his hot breath spraying on my face. "Dare you say you have feelings for him? Were you jealous when you saw me with him? Did you have even a little possessiveness?" "No," Noah answered himself, his tone laced with sarcasm. "Because you don't have him in your heart at all. You are just used to his existence. Used to his kindness to you." "You're talking nonsense," I retorted, but I felt a little flustered. "I'm talking nonsense?" Noah sneered, suddenly reached out and trapped me between the wall and him, and lowered his head to kiss me. I was so startled that I turned my head away, and his kiss landed on my cheek. "Let go of me, Noah Scott. Are you crazy?" I struggled with all my might. "I'm not crazy." He held me tightly, his voice ringing in my ear with a paranoid certainty. "You still have feelings for me. I know it. Your body doesn't lie." Just then, a calm voice rang out not far away. "Brother Noah, what are you doing?" He stood at the end of the corridor, against the light, his expression unreadable, but the coldness emanating from him dropped the temperature of the entire corridor. Noah saw Ethan, but instead of letting go of me, he provocatively hugged me even tighter, even deliberately kissing my forehead. "It's nothing, just catching up with Ava." Ethan's gaze fell on Noah's arm around me, then slowly moved to my face. His eyes were very calm, without anger, without questioning, only a bottomless sadness. He ignored Noah's provocation, just looked at me, his voice so gentle it was unbelievable. "Ava, have you had enough fun? Let's go home." At that moment, my heart felt like it was being grabbed hard by something. I pushed Noah away with force, walked quickly to Ethan's side, and took his cold hand in mine. "Yes, let's go home." Noah watched our clasped hands, the smile on his face finally disappearing, his eyes turning gloomy as he stared at our backs. The atmosphere in the car on the way home was terribly oppressive. Ethan drove in silence, his face tense, his jawline revealing a cold, resolute determination. I knew he was waiting for an explanation from me. Back home, he didn't cling to me as usual, but went straight to the sofa in the living room, poured himself a glass of water, and finished it in one gulp. I stood opposite him, watching his downcast eyes and tightly pursed lips. "Ethan," I started, "Noah and you guys were together before, right?" He interrupted me, looked up, his eyes were bloodshot, and his voice was terribly hoarse. "Yes, there's no point in hiding it now." He closed his eyes, took a deep breath, and when he opened them again, his eyes were full of fatigue and pain. "So, Noah was right. You don't love me at all. You still have him in your heart." "No," I hastily denied. "He and I broke up a long time ago." "Broke up?" He forced out a smile that was more painful than crying. "Broke up, and he would still hug you like that? Kiss you?" "Broke up, and you would still not push him away?" He spat out that last sentence almost through gritted teeth. It was then that I realized that he had appeared just as Noah had forcibly hugged me and kissed my forehead. And I had been so overwhelmed by shock and anger at the time that I hadn't pushed him away immediately. "Ethan, listen to my explanation. Things are not what you saw." "No need to explain." He interrupted me, stood up, and looked at me with empty eyes. "Ava, maybe we should really reconsider the divorce." After saying that, he turned around and walked towards the door, his steps a little unsteady. "Where are you going?" I asked subconsciously. He didn't answer, just opened the door and walked out. This time, he didn't drive, not even taking his cell phone. The night quickly swallowed his lonely figure. I looked at the empty doorway, a wave of panic washing over me. He's gone. He left this home with a deep misunderstanding and disappointment towards me. I can't let him just leave like this. I immediately rushed out to chase after him, calling out his name. The villa area is very large and quiet at night. My voice traveled far, but there was no response. I was anxious and frantically searching along the main road of the community. He didn't bring his phone or drive. Where could he have gone? Could he be thinking of doing something drastic? That thought made me even more afraid. I almost ran through the entire villa area, and my voice was hoarse from shouting, but I still couldn't find him. Just when I was about to despair, I returned to the entrance of my own villa. Then, I saw the figure curled up on the steps at the door. He hugged his knees and buried his head in his arms, like a child abandoned by the whole world, his shoulders twitching slightly, as if crying silently. The halo of the street lamp fell on him, stretching his shadow very long, filled with loneliness and grievance. My heart was instantly clenched, and sourness and heartache surged up together. I slowed my pace and slowly walked to him, squatting down. "Ethan." He heard my voice and suddenly looked up, his eyes red and swollen, his face still stained with tears. When he saw it was me, he was stunned for a moment, then pouted aggrievedly, like a child who had suffered a great grievance. Why did you only come now?" he complained with a heavy nasal tone, his voice choked with sobs. "I'm sorry, I've been looking for you for a long time." I reached out and gently wiped away the tears on his face, my voice softening unconsciously. "Why are you sitting here? It's cold outside." I'm afraid that if I leave, you really won't want me anymore." He lowered his head, his voice muffled. "I don't dare to go far." My heart felt like it had been hit hard by something, both sore and soft. "Silly." I sighed and reached out to hug him. His body stiffened, and then he hugged me back tightly, burying his head in the hollow of my neck, like a small animal seeking comfort, warm tears soaking my collar. "I'm sorry, Ava. I shouldn't have doubted you. I shouldn't have said divorce." He choked as he apologized. I saw Noah hugging you. I was scared. I was afraid you would really leave with him." "I won't." I patted his back, comforting him. "Noah and I ended things a long time ago, completely and utterly, but he's Noah Scott." Ethan's voice carried a hint of inferiority. "He's so outstanding, so amazing. From childhood, he was the other family's child in my parents' mouths, the goal I chased after. I always feel I can't compare to him." Only then did I realize that Ethan not only misunderstood my relationship with Noah, but also felt a deep sense of inferiority when facing his former role model turned love rival. "Ethan." I cupped his face and looked earnestly into his eyes. "In my heart, you are 10,000 times better than him. He is excellent, but he doesn't understand me, and even tries to control me. But you, though clumsy, have given me the most sincere care and protection." He stared at me blankly, his eyes still filled with tears, as if he couldn't believe what he was hearing. "Really? Really?" I nodded affirmatively. Seeing his dazed expression, my heart stirred. I leaned forward and gently kissed the corners of his eyes, which were stained with tears, and then kissed his lips. This time, It wasn't a test or an appeasement, but a response filled with clear intention. Ethan was completely stunned. After a few seconds, he finally reacted and deepened the kiss. After a long time, we broke the kiss. Our foreheads were touching, and we could both feel each other's rapid heartbeats. Ava. His voice was incredulous and hoarse. You idiot. I looked at him, finally no longer hiding my feelings. I fell for you a long time ago, without you knowing. Even when we first truly had relations, it wasn't just fulfilling marital obligations. It's just that I myself was unwilling to admit it. Ethan's eyes lit up instantly, as if filled with stars. He grinned foolishly, confirming again and again, really? You really like me? He was as happy as a child, hugging me, laughing and jumping. After his emotions calmed down a bit, I remembered another thing. By the way, Ethan, I poked his chest. Didn't you say before that you had someone you really liked in the past? Who exactly is that / little crush /? I always thought he was talking about an ex-girlfriend, but now it seems there's more to the story. Speaking of this, Ethan's expression suddenly became a little strange. His eyes flickered, and he stammered, that is a person I liked a long time ago. Seeing him like this, I became even more curious. We went back to the King family's old house for dinner on the weekend. During the dinner, I casually chatted with Ethan's mother, the elegant and amiable Mrs. King, about Ethan's embarrassing childhood stories. While chatting, Mrs. King suddenly smiled and said, speaking of which, Ethan has been sentimental since he was a child. The things locked in his precious safe haven't been changed for more than 10 years. / Oh, what treasures are they? I asked curiously. Ethan was desperately winking, trying to stop his mother from continuing, his face turning red. Mrs. King ignored him and said to me with a smile, it's a perfect score essay. It seems to be the first place essay he won in a school essay contest in high school, and he treasures it very much. Essay? I was even more surprised. What's so special about an essay that it needs to be locked up for more than a decade? Yes, I was curious at the time and secretly took a look once. Mrs. King lowered her voice and said mysteriously, guess who wrote that essay? I shook my head. You wrote it? Ava. Me? I was stunned. Yes, the signature at the end of the composition is your name, Ava Miller, Mrs. King said with certainty. This kid probably had a crush on you since then. My brain buzzed, and went completely blank. Ethan, had a crush on me? Since high school? I looked at Ethan in disbelief. He was practically burning up, his face as red as a boiled shrimp, his eyes darting around, avoiding mine. This appearance undoubtedly confirmed it. So, the person you used to like you mentioned. I looked at him, my voice trembling slightly. Ethan lowered his head, his voice as soft as a mosquito's hum. It's you. So, the little crush he had been constantly talking about, the person who made me misunderstand for so long, was actually me. Mrs. King seemed to think it wasn't enough and dropped another bombshell. Speaking of which, when he graduated from high school, this silly boy secretly made a necklace and wanted to give it to you, right? But he was too timid to give it himself, so he asked Noah to pass it on. And then what happened? Mrs. King sighed and glared at Ethan. As a result, Noah came back and said that you thought the necklace design was outdated and the color was ugly, and you didn't even look at it before asking him to throw it away. It broke Ethan's heart, and it took him several days to recover. Necklace, yellow gemstone, moon, handed over by Noah, disliked, thrown away. All the clues instantly connected in my mind. That moon-shaped yellow gemstone necklace that Noah claimed he designed himself and represented his feelings, was actually made by Ethan. It was the graduation gift he had been secretly in love with me for many years and plucked up the courage to give me. And Noah Scott, he not only stole Ethan's feelings and lied that he made the necklace himself, but also turned around and deceived Ethan, saying that I disliked the necklace, and may not have even conveyed Ethan's original words at all, but just casually said that he gave it. No wonder the pink diamond necklace Ethan gave me is so similar in style to that moon necklace, because that was originally his style. I only felt a chill rising from the bottom of my heart. Noah Scott, since when did he harbor such deep jealousy and scheming towards me and Ethan? Did he approach me and pursue me with the intention of taking away Ethan's beloved things from the very beginning? I looked at Ethan, and he seemed to have thought of something too, his face turning very ugly. Ethan had been in low spirits ever since we returned from the old house that day. I knew the necklace incident was a big blow to him. To be deceived for so many years by a brother he trusted, and to have the affection between himself and his beloved distorted, would be difficult for anyone to accept. 2 days later, when Ethan came back in the evening, he had obvious wounds on his face, a split lip, and some bruising around his eyes. I was startled and quickly pulled him down to sit, taking out the first aid kit to treat his wounds. "What happened? Did you get into a fight?" He was silent, letting me use a cotton swab dipped in iodine to disinfect him. The alcohol touched the wound, and he hissed in pain, but still didn't say anything. "Did you go to find Noah?" I asked softly. He finally nodded, his voice muffled. "Yeah." "He beat you up like this?" I frowned, feeling a little angry. "I fought back too," Ethan said softly, his tone even carrying a hint of barely perceptible smugness. Looking at the childish expression on his face, I didn't know whether to laugh or cry, and the worry in my heart was also relieved by half. "It seems he didn't suffer a big loss. What did he say to you?" I asked while putting a band-aid on him. Ethan was silent for a while before he spoke in a low voice, repeating the words Noah used to deceive him back then. He said you told him in private that you hated fat people the most, and thought fat people were disgusting." Ethan was a bit chubby in high school. "He said, you thought I was always secretly watching you, like a perverted stalker, which made you very uncomfortable. He said, when you received the necklace, you didn't even open the box, and said the color was too earthy and didn't match you, and told him to get rid of it quickly." Each sentence was heart-wrenching. Listening to him, my disgust for Noah reached its peak. To prevent Ethan from getting close to me, to completely cut off Ethan's thoughts, he actually fabricated such vicious lies, wantonly trampling on a sincere and humble crush of a young boy. What jealousy and distortion this is. He's talking nonsense. I looked into Ethan's eyes and said, word by word, "I never said those things. Back then, I didn't even know you liked me." Ethan's eyes slowly lit up, like dusty pearls being wiped clean, regaining their brilliance. He asked cautiously, "Really? You don't hate me?" "I don't hate you." I looked at him and said seriously, "Ethan King, you are not fat at all. You are very cute." You secretly looked at me, and I didn't feel uncomfortable either. Okay. The second half of that sentence was to comfort him. I really didn't notice him in high school. He grinned, laughing foolishly, oblivious to the wound at the corner of his eye. A few days later, I received a call from Chloe. "Ava, I have news for you. Noah Scott has resigned from King Enterprises." Resigned? I was a little surprised. "Well, I heard it was Ethan who personally issued the order to have him pack up and leave." "How ruthless." Chloe sighed with admiration. I wasn't surprised that Ethan would do this. Knowing what Noah had done, he couldn't possibly keep such a person around. That afternoon, I went to King Enterprises to find Ethan, ready to leave work together. Just as I walked to the downstairs of the company, I saw that familiar figure. Noah Scott stood at the building entrance, wearing a sharp suit and his hair meticulously combed, still looking like the gentle and refined elite he always was. Seeing me, he walked straight towards me. "Ava, what is it?" I asked coldly. "Care to chat?" "I don't think we have anything to talk about." "Just a few minutes," he insisted, a desperate, stubborn look in his eyes. I stopped and looked at him. "Ethan kicked you out?" I resigned myself. He stubbornly said, "That kind of childish, impulsive waste who is good for nothing except relying on his family is not worth me working for him." He began to unscrupulously denigrate Ethan, his words full of disdain and contempt. "Ava, do you really want to spend your life with this kind of person? What can he give you? Besides the King family name, he has nothing, but I am different. I can give you a better future. We can." "Noah," I interrupted him, looking at him calmly, "I don't love you." These 4 words, like a sharp sword, pierced through all his pretense. His face turned pale instantly, his eyes filled with disbelief and hurt. "Why?" he murmured. "What exactly do I lack compared to that good-for-nothing?" "It's not that you're inferior to him," I pointed out, piercingly, watching his face contort with jealousy. "It's just that you can't stand to see him doing well. You don't want to have me, you just want to steal what he values, whether it was that necklace in the past, or me now." Noah's body swayed for a moment, as if I had hit a sore spot. "You're defending him?" he sneered. "Ava, don't forget who met you first." "Who first?" "So what if you met me first?" I interrupted him. "Some people, no matter how early you meet them, you can't get into their heart, and some people, even if they go around in circles, will eventually meet. In the distance, Ethan's car slowly drove up and stopped by the side of the road. I stopped looking at Noah, turned around, and ran towards that familiar car. Ethan opened the car door, a gentle smile on his face. I threw myself into his arms and hugged him tightly. "What's wrong?" He sensed my emotions and asked with some concern. "Nothing." I shook my head, buried my face in his warm chest, and listened to his strong heartbeat. "I just suddenly wanted to hug you." He laughed, reached out and ruffled my hair, his movements gentle. Outside the car window, Noah Scott was still standing there, looking at us with a complex expression. I looked up and kissed Ethan's chin. "Let's go home." "Okay, let's go home." He started the car with a smile. The sunlight streamed in through the car window, landing on our clasped hands. I knew that our story had only just begun. My heart skipped a beat. It's Ethan. But I don't care anymore.